Hello and welcome back to this edition of Bayou Time. Again, your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker. Thank you so much for joining us. You know, we always like to get you information as soon as we get it, especially when our politicians let us know about things that are happening here in our state. Very glad to welcome back to the program, U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy. Bill, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Keith, thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. And so, listen, a lot of people are talking about this Manchin bill. It's also called the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act. Tell us a little bit about how they're trying to push this through and what it may mean for us Louisianians.
Yeah, so first, it does not reduce inflation. Let's first say that off the bat.
Okay.
And that's what Americans are concerned about.
Right.
Now, it's not just me saying it doesn't reduce inflation, but the University of Pennsylvania Penn Wharton Group did an analysis. In the first 2 years, it actually increases inflation a little bit, and after that has no impact. But it does otherwise affect your pocketbook. There's an analysis done by an independent federal agency which says that those making $200,000 a year, that's you, that's me, that's almost everybody watching, will have an extra $16.7 billion in taxes we're responsible for this coming year, and that amount increases over the next 10 years. So it's going to touch our pocketbook in a negative way. There's some things in there that, yes, if it was taken out and put separately, I would be all for it. But you give me the whole package, and I think it's bad for us.
Okay, and so one of those things they're talking about, ironically enough, they said that it's going to be closing tax loopholes. So it's really interesting to me that they use buzzwords like that, and that was just reported by CNBC about the richest Americans and corporations. But $200,000 a year doesn't seem to be the richest of Americans by definition.
Yeah, so the President Biden said he was not going to raise taxes on those making less than $400,000 a year. But by far and away, those making less than $400,000 a year will see the biggest impact. Now, the corporations they're talking about, they say that there's some corporations that pay less than they should, so therefore we're going to put a minimum tax. That's going to impact manufacturers. Congress has been giving credits to manufacturers, trying to get them to come back from China or to expand their operations here instead of going to another country. So when a manufacturing company takes a credit like that, they're only taking it because they're expanding in the United States. That was the intent of those provisions. Now, it isn't so much the company I'm worried about. I want those jobs. I want somebody to stay here, expand, create more American jobs, than move to China, creating jobs there and losing jobs here. Yeah. So when they speak about companies not paying their fair share, they're actually responding to what Congress has put in, trying to get more jobs here for our fellow Americans.
So it almost looks like there's the attempt here to change one of the things that we're trying to become a little bit more solid with regards to our corporations here in the United States and saving those jobs. Based on what I've read about a little bit about this bill, it's going to lose some jobs.
Yeah, so about 50% of the taxes on corporations fall upon manufacturers. And according to the manufacturers, that is going to have a definite impact upon those companies. Now, why does that matter? Well, if you look at who employs working people, it's going to be manufacturing, it's going to be mining like oil and gas, it's going to be construction. Well, the manufacturing portion of it, we've been losing to other countries.
Right.
We need to get it back. We need those well-paid jobs to come back. And according to the manufacturers, this bill takes us in the wrong direction.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why it was put into place to give some tax accreditation, tax cuts to those manufacturers trying to establish in the U.S. so that we can provide some things our own, that we can make sure that we're getting people working here and providing for them. That's the whole point.
Yeah, it's real easy for a company just to set up shop in China. You don't have to obey environmental laws like you do here. In some places, they use slave labor. It lowers their cost of production, just to say that. So if in China will sometimes give a direct subsidy for a company to move there. So it's not an even playing field. We're trying to even it. We want those jobs here.
Right. One of the things they show is that they say that it's disinflationary, but you believe that it may create more of a problem with this recession.
Yeah. So, the American Rescue Plan, they passed with only Democrats voting for it. It put $1.9 trillion into the economy. Economists on the left said that this was going to cause inflation. So, yep, American Rescue Plan hits, causes inflation. Now we've entered into a recession. I call the American Rescue Plan the American Recession Plan. Well, this bill they put forward might be the American Recession Plan 2.0. It has the threat to deepen us further. Just when we want our manufacturers to kind of keep it up, even though the economy is down, they're going to scratch their head, say, "Hey, my tax liability is going up. Maybe it's time not to expand."
Right. Got about 30 seconds left here. Senator, is there anything else you can recommend or any thoughts about what's out there that we need to be looking for that would be better than this particular bill?
Yeah, so there's some things that I'm strongly for, but just not the way that they're going about it. One is, how do we lower prescription drug costs? I'm a doc. I understand that's key.
Right.
And so Republicans last year passed something on a bipartisan basis that would address the same concerns as this bill does. But this bill has the threat of saying to drug companies, boom, if you don't give us the price we want, we're taking 95% of your profit on these drugs.
Right.
Well, the drug company may just decide to no longer invest in that next Alzheimer's drug or the next cancer drug.
Right.
Why take the risk that the federal government can take your profits?
Yep.
So I'd like to even do that differently.
Right. Senator, we appreciate your time as always. Thank you for the updates, and we look forward for more from you next time we get to chat.
Thanks, Keith.
Appreciate it. All right, guys, that'll do it for this particular segment. Don't go anywhere. A lot more Bayou time when we continue.